Hi, Cornerstone family and friends. This is Pastor Mike here, just with a couple of thoughts with our continued perspective series. Have something that I want to show you actually today. This is something that's very precious to me. My grandfather, my mom's dad, was a very well-dressed man. He always wore a suit, or most of the time he did. And even when he didn't, he had dress pants, and he would always keep this watch in his vest or in his pocket. And when he passed, this gift came to me. And I'm showing this to you today, not because it just means a lot to me, and it's a great little piece, but also I want to use it to challenge us in the way we're seeing our days right now. As we enter into the third week now of this pandemic, it has really wreaked havoc with the way that we spend our time. It's upset our normal rhythms and challenged us in a lot of ways, and we've responded in anger, with frustration, some with despair and discouragement, fear, you name it. It has really rocked our worlds. But I want to use my grandfather's watch as a challenge to us to look at this pandemic not as an inconvenience so much as a gift of time. You know, before all this came down, I talked to people all the time. They were saying, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for this. And usually the this or the that were the more important things of life. They were often getting pushed aside because of the urgent things. These days have the potential to be very significant for very good reasons. I remember back in the summer of 1972, my other grandfather came to live with us because he was struggling with cancer. And it was unusual because I didn't spend a whole lot of time with that particular grandfather, at least not one-on-one. And during that summer, we got to watch the All-Star game together, the baseball All-Star game. We got to watch the Summer Olympics together. And those are some of my most enduring memories of my grandfather. And I treasure those days. And for you parents and grandparents, you have the same opportunity with these days right now. Psalm 90:12 says, "Teach us to number our days aright, that we may live a life of wisdom." And basically, if you look in the Living Bible, that reads, "Teach us to number our days and recognize how few they are. Help us to spend them as we should." What if God were giving us these days as a life reset, a redirection, an opportunity to reevaluate our priorities, and that we might come out on the other side with our life heading in a better direction, with a better set of priorities? I had a pastor friend that kind of challenged me to think about this in regards to our church. He said, how would you, Mike, want your church to look differently on September the 15th, after hopefully all this is passed? As I prayed about that and thought, Lord, what would you have us to be? How would you have us to be differently as a church at Cornerstone at, say, the end of September of this year? And the word that kept coming back to me was the word stronger, because initially that was the word in our very first sermon series this year that we focused on. And it seemed like the Lord was saying, it hasn't changed, Mike. I still want you to become stronger this year. And I asked for confirmation, and on the next day, as I sat down time with the Lord, this was the verse that came right before my eyes, very first thing, 2 Samuel 3:1, that says, "The war between the house of Saul and the house of David lasted a long time. David grew stronger and stronger, while the house of Saul grew weaker and weaker." We're going through times of testing, no doubt, just like Saul and David did. Saul got weaker, David got stronger. We have an opportunity to get stronger as a church during these days. Hebrews 3 tells us to encourage one another daily, as long as it's today, because our hearts are prone to sinfulness. And so I want to challenge us. In these days, let's build one another up. I'm going to challenge us to say, let's do a text a day. A text a day will keep the darkness away. Text somebody and challenge them, encourage them, tell them that you're praying for them, something that will point them to the Lord. Wouldn't it be awesome if, like, in 4 weeks, you or I are getting 4 texts a day, just words of encouragement? I don't know about you, but I'll take that. But think about that. Let's move forward from this time, saying that we're going to come out of this pandemic episode, for however long it lasts, a stronger church, because we are taking God at His word and encouraging one another daily. I hope that that's a help to you, that you can begin to see all these days not merely as an inconvenience, but as a gift of time. All right, talk to you soon. Thanks so much.